Okay, we need more Touhous. There has been enough Touhous lately, so we need to do more Touhous. Next one is called Futo. It's got a lot of things that apparently. There's the Futo teaches you about the Tao. Okay, let's learn about the Tao. That's what this one is about. Okay. Uh, option. Oh, that's loud. Uh, let's. Sure. Oh no, it's okay. Okay, we can do that. Sure. Alright, I go full screen. Those are the only options we have. Anyway, let's learn about the Tao. About Daoism. Last year we learned about Taoism. We became a Taoist or something. It was good. This year we're gonna learn something else. I heard this story once when the Buddha was delivering a sermon at the foot of the Yokai Mountain. So thirsty, but I will have to trudge on to make it to the Myorin Temple. I feel like a bit lightheaded. Yeah. I knew I should have pushed myself. I was already getting a headache, but I kept on going. Yeah, oxygen deprivation is one hell of a thing. Oh, what the hell? Where am I?
Hey, you're finally awake.
Uh,
Mine own Namath is Futo from Mononobe clan. Thee hath passed out on the road, so I took thee in.
oh gosh, she talks in old-timey voice.
Mind telling me where thee were headed? Be it somewhere important?
Thank you for taking me in. I set out on a pilgrimage to the Myorin Temple.
The what?
The Myorin Temple?
Now then, listen up. Myorin has more followers than us, twice more, no, maybe even more. Seeing people visit their temple day by day, but rarely any to our great mausoleum. 'Tis a shame, really. Daoism is rich and heavy with wisdom. Its texts and many poems are gorgeous as well. If only the common folk knew about the beauty of the Tao, maybe the world would even be a better place. Good now. Can I be the one to introduce you to the Tao for this once? It would be wonderful.
Sure, fuck, we can convert. It's not a big deal. Alright, I'll hear you out. Though, what happened to your speech?
The speech.
She's got it.
The speech? It was just an act. Now then, where should we begin? Let me try to explain what Daoism is about first. Daoism, or as you may know it as Taoism,
It's the same thing we haven't converted at all. So we're still a Taoist. Okay. We haven't.
is a religious and philosophical tradition that originated from China way back in the past, at least 2,500 years ago. Daoism and Taoism are the same. The only difference is from the new romanticization practices for transcribing Chinese to English. Dao is more accurate. Dao means way in Chinese, and Daoism is based on the concept of the Dao, the way things are, or the way of things. Now, whenever someone says Daoism or Taoism, you think of yin-yang, right? The symbol itself is about how seeming opposites are actually complementary. If I remember correctly, in the Dao De Jing, there were several chapters about this. How if you recognize beauty, ugliness is born. Is and isn't produce each other. Long is tested by short. High is determined by low. You get what I mean.
The Dao De Jing, I read that. I read the full thing. Oh, it was Tao Te Ching, but it's close enough, probably.
Alright, the Dao De Jing is one of the many Daoist texts out there, and one of the most important. It's also known as the Lao Tzu because the person who wrote it is, well, Lao Tzu. Now I should tell you that a Daoist doesn't just read the Dao De Jing exclusively. They also read various other texts like the Zhangzi or the Liezi. Liezi? The Dao De Jing is a collection of 81 poems, while the Zhuangzi and Liezi are a collection of anecdotes and stories where you have to figure out the moral by yourself. Of course, the Zhuangzi and Liezi are written by exactly who you think it is, Zhuangzi and Liezi. Now, Daoism is something I cannot explain in our little interaction. It is something you have to spend a lifetime to devote yourself to. That being said, I'll try my best to tell you what it is. I'll tell you more about the Dao De Jing first of all. There are many translations of the Dao De Jing, and they all incredibly differ from each other. The translation actually matters because the meaning is metaphysical. It isn't like a Platonic archetype where what texts you use don't matter. You should read several translations of the Dao De Jing to get a better understanding. You should also read the literal word-for-word translations from Chinese to English.
I see, but What is metaphysical?
Daoists have an incredibly broad range of ideas and beliefs, but generally, Daoists believe that there is an ultimate metaphysical reality which they call Tao. Metaphysical is a type of metaphysics. Metaphysical is a philosophical concept used in Daoism to describe things that are beyond words, knowledge, and beyond physical descriptions.
Sounds like a headache to read and learn about, isn't it?
The first chapter of the Tao Te Ching explains how it is metaphysical, and since there are many Daoists in the world, I wouldn't say it's hard to wrap your head around, right? Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Tao that can be named is not the eternal name. Names that can be named is not the eternal name.
What?
Those first few sentences are already filled with wisdom, you know? Essentially, the Tao can be spoken of, taught, or read. The Tao that can be spoken of, taught, or read is not the eternal Tao because the true Tao is metaphysical. Words, literature can only describe a vague, blurry outline.
Then how do people learn about Tao and become sages if it is metaphysical?
Try moving your fingers, but describe in written form how you can move your fingers. You can't, right? That proves the existence of knowledge beyond words and literature. A Taoist sage that has achieved knowledge of the Tao will never be able to tell us how they did so. The only way to be able to learn about the Tao is from experience. A Taoist that reads whole libraries will never be able to grasp the Tao, but the one who practices can.
Can you tell me what happens when a person grasps the Tao?
Tao encompasses all, and it has patterns. These patterns are observable. When we are able to notice these patterns and are able to accommodate ourselves to them, life becomes easier and attains a feeling of flowing along.
So by reading Taoist texts like the wisdom and ideas, one can live an easier life?
Essentially, yeah, though studying and practice of the Tao is a lifelong journey. It doesn't require rigorous training unless you want to be a monk at some monastery.
But how does grasping the Tao lead to an easier life?
For one to grasp the Tao, they first have to realize that forms are all empty.
Forms are all empty?
Our lives are full of deep and profound mysteries. Why are we conscious? If there is a God, how do they work? How come I don't remember if I was sentient back when I was 4? The world is full of forms, names, and labels. If we can look past these outer aspects and into the nameless, the source, we realize that feeling, cognition, consciousness are all void. Once we realize these are all but empty and return back to the source, only then can we see the world properly.
What is the source?
Essentially, before humans began naming things and labeling them, there was no difference between the ground and the tree. The tree was an extension of the soil, and the soil was the base. A tree is only a tree when you name it a tree. What the tree really is something only a newborn knows because they have no idea what a tree is. The child points at a tree and asks, "What is that?" And we say, "That's a tree." We feel like we have given the child understanding, but all we've given it is the ability to speak. We only have given them a box to put things in. What this means is that when we label things, they change and become subjective. Without names, we see its inner essence. Trees and rocks flow from the same sources, though differently named. The source of it all is the nameless, the Tao. Tao is the source, like pure light, and once it enters the world, it refracts and becomes many things. The Tao is the origin of all, but naming is what makes these things unique.
And how would this exactly make my life easier?
People naturally think of themselves and set high standards for themselves. We all struggle to know what the right path to take in the future, but that is exactly the issue. We all think there is a right choice or path to take in our lives. To get the correct answer, we have to count many unknown variables we cannot conceive. It's impossible, yet we all keep looking for it. Mystery and the unknown is natural. The world doesn't change, but people's mindsets do. It's up to us whether we can try endlessly trying to micromanage our lives or let go and continue into the unknown. Knowing that all forms are empty makes stepping into the unknown easier. You embrace uncertainty and find out that things work out. Once the understanding of how empty everything is, you will immediately feel happier, and it relieves a lot of tension in our minds.
I sorta don't understand.
As long as you are consistent in your study of the Tao, you will be able to understand.
Right. Doesn't Daoism have something to do with desires?
Chapter 12 of the Tao Te Ching talks about desires. 5 colors darken the eye, 5 tones deafen the ears, 5 tastes jade the tongue. Hunting and racing madden the heart. Exotic goods ensnarls lives. Therefore, the sage takes care of the stomach and not the eyes. Essentially, this chapter is about human desires, how we are chasing exotic things blindly. The eyes seek rare goods, but the stomach knows when it is full and content. Happiness comes from being content and happy with what you have. I see many people go, if I do this next thing, I'll be happy, etc. Though you cannot just say where happiness is. Being told over here and there, but people fail to realize that they need to stop chasing these desires and be content. I'm not telling you not to chase dreams or goals, however. Just know to differentiate between needs, wants, and personal goals. If we were to be completely desireless, we would die. Like that rat experiment where rats became desireless and died because they had no drive to do anything at all, not even eating. Let's get on to another chapter. Chapter 40, in my opinion, is a great and short summary of Daoism. Reversal is Dao's movement. Yielding is Dao's practice. All things originate from being. Being originates from non-being.
Yielding is the practice?
The word yielding means giving way under pressure, not hard or rigid.
Isn't caving under pressure usually a bad thing?
The bamboo that tries to keep itself upright and stiff will snap in a hurricane. The bamboo that flows with the wind and allows itself to be blown survives. Chapter 50 is also quite interesting. 3 out of 10 people celebrate life. 3 out of 10 celebrate death. The rest simply move numbly in life from cradle to grave. Why is this? It is said that they are overly protective of this life. It is said that the one who knows how to protect their life can walk freely without fear of the wild buffalo or tiger. He may meet an army with no sword or shield, for all will not find any soft place to pierce. Essentially, many people are obsessed with life and don't think of it. Others think of only death and welcome it. A leaf doesn't dread the fall, nor does it cling when the wind blows.
I see. What about some Daoist stories or anecdotes?
I have many in store, but I'll try to go through the ones I find incredible. You see how in the winter all things appear dead? The snow is incessant, and then one day the sky clears and air warms up. Gardeners are seen preparing new stock, though there are only dead branches and a grey floor outside. It's because the people are optimistic. They know there will be an end to the cold. In our lives, we see responsibilities as dreadful. Why dig the ground when the weather is not in our favor? We see activities as obligations, and we strain ourselves against the flow of our fate. But there is a joy in working in harmony with the proper time. When we do things at the right time, it will bear fruit. Another story I should tell you is of a useless tree. A boat made from its wood would sink. A coffin would quickly rot. Any furniture would soon go to pieces. Its material was good for nothing. Though the tree knew, if the tree could bear fruit, those would be taken from the tree. If the tree could make wood that could make coffins, boats, and furniture, it would be cut down. The tree knew that the trees with productive abilities would be cut down, so it embraced being useless. It grows big and towering. It could never have grown to that size if it could be of use. Too many stories I should tell. I recommend you read some yourself. Now on to the unpopularity of Daoism. I often see people getting into Eastern philosophy and religion, and when I ask them what kind, most of them reply with Buddhism or some form of it, such as Zen or Nichiren. The reason of this unpopularity, I believe, is because Daoism is abstract, metaphysical, and no clear path to follow. In Buddhism, things are more structured and needs less thought by the individual. And its unpopularity in the West, I think, is because of their culture. It's all about the analytical scientific materialism, logic, and reasoning. It's all a fundamental part of how they function. Though because Daoism is metaphysical, you should not read Daoist texts and listen to stories with an academic mindset. Now let's talk about misconceptions of Daoism. First, I often see people split Daoism into 2 parts, philosophical, and religious, but this distinction is only a modern Western fiction. Daoism consists of religious practitioners and communities considered as a whole. I've seen arguments about how philosophical Daoism is the original form of Daoism, but there is no form of Daoism that is not religious, though there are some aspects of Daoism that are philosophical. Second, the Daoists are people who love the Tao and go with the flow. There are different adherences and affiliations. These involve different degrees of commitment and responsibility. Daoism has priests, monasteries, and lay supporters. You may split Daoists into two groups: Daoist adherents and Daoist sympathizers. In the West, however, one can find various forms of spiritual appropriation and spiritual capitalism. Third, that Wu Wei is an excuse to be lazy. Short answer is no. And fourth is that Daoism rejects intellect. Again, short answer is no.
Wu Wei, rejecting intellect.
I'm going to be real with you. I'm not that great at explaining these, and plus it would take a whole spiritual journey to tell you. If you're interested, you should study these subjects yourself later on.
I see. But where should a beginner start studying the Tao?
You should start by reading various translations of the Dai De Jing, then on to other books and texts. When practicing, you should take note of its effects on the day and over time perfect it for all eternity. Now, if I remember correctly, you had some business to attend to, right? Get going along then.
Okay. Alright, we got a little introduction to the Tao now. Okay. Sure. That was neat. I guess we continue to be Taoist/Daoist in the future or something like that. Okay. I got nothing else to say. That was just a little bit educational, informative. I appreciate that. It's nice. And now we continue to be on our Tao futures mindset. Just go with the flow. I go with the flow a lot. Or something like that. I guess. I don't know. I try not to worry too much. There are things you can control, things you can't. You can influence the things that you can't control to a degree eventually. It's the building blocks. It's either get to the point where you can do the thing or something. Yeah, lots of things are out of reach, but you know you can build, you can make bricks. You can lay down some bricks, be a lemming, put down the brick, another brick and stuff like that, or whatever it was. Anyway, goodbye. Learn stuff or something. I don't know.